Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nathan. You're watching yet another Salty Productions Goldfishing video. This is the companion Goldfishing video for my Indomitable deck tech that I made a full video on. You can check that out linked down below. But basically what this deck is doing is playing a bunch of little unblockable rogues and then drawing a bunch of cards with the Indomitable in the command zone. Now, if you didn't know, on June 20th, 2025, Wizards of the Coast made a rule change to allow legendary vehicles to be your commander as long as there is a power and toughness on the card. In addition to spacecraft can also be your commander as well. So we're going to be playtesting this deck, putting it through its paces so you guys can see how it plays. The first game will assume very little interaction. The second game will assume maybe the Indomitable is removed after a turn or two so you guys can see kind of how the deck performs if the commander is removed, given that it is our primary draw engine. So without further ado, let's head into the playtester, and of course, do all that like and subscribe, fun stuff. All right, so starting us out here, we have 4 lands, which is more than we'll need, but at least we can guaranteed get to the Indomitable on turn 4. We are running Cyclonic Rift as a nice top end here. Mercurial Spell Dancer is one of our better 2-drop rogues because it can copy instants and sorceries. And then we've got a piece of removal here with Brawl's Expertise. This is an okay hand. I kind of am tempted to mulligan, but the fact that we do have 4 lands is pretty nice. I'd like to see another low-cost rogue that we can play on either turn 1 or turn 2, but I think for this match, we will keep this hand and we'll start on turn 1. So let's play an island, pass, and then we drew another 2-cost rogue here, which is pretty awesome. So Ghostly Pilferer will say when it becomes untapped, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card, and then whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than hand, draw a card. So I think what we actually want to do is probably play Ghostly Pilferer turn 2 because this can actually draw us cards off of commanders coming down. So we'll assume that Ghostly Pilferer will draw us 2 cards on turn 4 from commanders being played, which a lot of 3 and 4 CMC commanders are out there. All right, turn 3, let's go. Let's see, I believe Mystic Sanctuary cares about 3 or more islands, so let's not play that quite yet. But we can play our Mercurial Spell Dancer, depending on if our opponents have available attacks. We could attack with the Ghostly Pilferer, but we will go to turn 4. So let's play out another island. So let's play out the Indomitable for 4 mana. And then I think with Ghostly Pilferer, we probably want to assume that we will have to discard a card to make it unblockable, which is totally fine. I think in this scenario, we actually might just want to ditch an island because we already have, or we could also ditch an instant sorcery, which will allow Mystic Sanctuary to put it back on top of our library. So I'm thinking actually we might want to play, although with Brawl's Expertise next turn, we could then play out the Azure Beastbinder for free. So I think we actually might just want to discard an island to make Ghostly Pilferer unblockable. So then Mercurial Spell Dancer will also become unblockable. And I believe we missed a non-creature spell trigger. So Mercurial Spell Dancer we'll give it a little counter here. Generic counter of 1, and then it says whenever it deals combat damage to a player, remove 2 oil counters. If you do when you cast your next instant sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. Okay, so now we get in for 2 damage. The Indomitable will see that and will draw us 2 cards, assuming that it is still around to see that happen. And we redrew our land, which is pretty excellent. So then we'll go next turn here. Then I think we want to play, if we play out our Brawl's Expertise, we can actually cast the Enduring Curiosity for free. We'll have to play out the Absurd Entertainment this turn. Okay, so let's go Absurd Entertainment. We're going to go 5 mana for Brawl's Expertise. Return up to 3 target artifacts and creatures to their owner's hand. So we're going to bounce some of our opponent's things. And then you may cast a spell of mana value 4 or less mana without paying its mana cost. So we'll drop this Enduring Curiosity, which is pretty solid. That will go to our graveyard and set us up for a Mystic Sanctuary next turn. Then let's discard another card here to make the Ghostly Pilferer unblockable. I think we definitely pitched the Mystic Sanctuary. We abandoned that plan so we can swing for 2 creatures here, and then we will draw a total of 4 cards off of that. All right, so this is looking real good here, and now we have to discard down to hand size, so I think we'll just ditch an island, assuming that we'll draw more next turn. All right, so let's say, I think it's a probable assumption that we can maybe assume that the Indomitable is removed at this point. I don't think people would mostly target the Enduring Curiosity because it comes back as an enchantment, so there's not really a lot of incentive to target it. So for this turn, if we drop in down an island, we can play out our One Ring as sort of a pseudo sort of a pseudo extra turn spell, but what I really want to do is spam a bunch of rogues onto the battlefield. So if we look at kind of what rogues we have in hand, we have an Azure Beastbinder, we have a Fairy Vandal, both of which are nice to get on the battlefield. And I definitely want to drop this extra turn spell for 6. So maybe we actually go extra turn spell into then more, because that will make us a bunch of flyers as well. And then we go 2 more rogues on the next turn with maybe a Patrick Banner or possibly a One Ring, and then we play Graz, and that's basically the game. Okay, so turn 6, I think we will tap, well, first of all, we will head to combat. So this is an unblockable fella here. So he's going to get in for 2, and then Ghostly Pilfer, I think we will discard. I think we are okay discarding this Patrick Banner because we have Graz, giving everything a base power and toughness 5/3. I think that's somewhat reasonable. It's just going to be a kind of clunk up in the later game. We will get in for 2 damage. We will draw 2 more cards here, and that gives us our mana refund. So then, because we've dealt combat damage with a rogue, that enables the Prowl trigger from Notorious Throng. Create X 1/1 Black Pharaoh creature tokens with flying, where X is damage dealt to your opponents this turn, and then we take an extra turn. Okay, so we have dealt 2 plus 2 is 4 damage. So let's create 4 Fairy Rogues. So we're going to create 1, and then we're going to create 3 copies of it. Okay, so we'll go next turn, and we could pay with the Ghostly Pilfer on these upkeeps. I've just been sort of ignoring those triggers because it just hasn't been really necessary. So let's drop an island. We've got 7 mana. Again, we could run out a Cyclonic Rift if our opponent's board is scary. If we're the arch enemy, we could drop down a One Ring pretty easily. We do need 1 more turn before Graz is online. So I think this turn we're going to go Azure Beastbinder plus a Fairy Vandal plus the One Ring. Whoops, my apologies. We can't cast the One Ring because that is going to be 1 mana too many, because the Fairy Vandal plus the Azure Beastbinder is going to cost us 4, and then we have an additional 3 here. So I think we actually might just want to hold up an offer you can't refuse. The One Ring will give us that nice protection, but actually, you know what? Let's do it this way. Let's actually hold back the Fairy Vandal. We'll play the One Ring just as extra protection, and then as we go to combat, so that will consume a total of, let's see, so we've paid 6 into that. So then we will go to combat, discard a card with Ghostly Pilfer, make it unblockable. We will swing with 6 total creatures. Enduring Curiosity. We'll see that we can draw 6 cards, assuming that all of the flyers get through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we are looking solid here, and then we would have to discard down to hand size, but just for the sake of demonstration, we're going to skip that. And then we would play out basically our Graz right after that to give all of our creatures base power and toughness 5/3. Now let's say that Graz was removed before we were able to swing. Then our plan the following turn would be to probably play out some control pieces in addition to maybe a Herald's Horn, continue to draw as many cards as we can, and spam out even more rogues so that we can just continue to draw more cards. Probably recast the Indomitable to really dig deep into our deck, and then it would be, let's see, how many cards until we would actually hit another overrun effect. So that'd be 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so it'd be 7 cards we could probably get within, let's say, 2 turns of swinging with unblockable creatures. So that would be about turn 9 or turn 10. Okay, so let's now start a new game. We are going to take a look at what we have for lands here. We've got an Ancient Tomb plus Scavenger Grounds plus Heraldic Banner plus Sapphire Medallion plus a Metallic Mimic. So we've got all the ramp in the world, but we don't have any unblockable rogues. Now, this hand would be a shame to mulligan away, so I think we have to keep this with an Ancient Tomb in our opening hand, right? So, okay, so Banner of Kinship is going to be a great overrun effect, so let's go Island. We don't have any 1-drops. Next turn, Graz. Okay, another overrun effect, but we're not drawing many rogues. So let's go, I think if we have a 3-mana drop here, what's the best way to actually sequence this? If we played Ancient Tomb, we would have 3 mana. We could get out the Heraldic Banner, and I guess we don't really have any blue spells to play yet with Sapphire Medallion, so that's probably the better play here. So I think Ancient Tomb into Heraldic Banner, naming blue. Creatures in control of the chosen color get +1/+0. We go next turn. Perfect. We drew a rogue, so let's go Island. We have 5 mana at our disposal, so we go Metallic Mimic into Azure Beastbinder. Azure Beastbinder will get a +1/+1 counter from the Metallic Mimic, and both of these fellas, if you give me just a second here, we'll get an additional +1/+0 from the Heraldic Banner being active, and that cost us 4 mana. mana, so we're taking some damage from the Ancient Tomb. It would be nice to play the Sapphire Medallion, but honestly I want to get just get as many rogues as possible so that next turn we can play the Indomitable. Okay, so Scavenger Grounds, we have 6 mana to use here. I think we go Sapphire Medallion. That's going to cost us 2 Ancient Tomb mana, and then we're going to play the Indomitable for 3, so 1, 2, and then 3. And then we have 1 mana to hold up here, but it's going to be just kind of an Akko Taco mana. So let's head to combat. Azir Beastbinder gets in. Metallic Mimic, do we think could really get in? So Azir Beastbinder gets in, attacks up to 1 target artifact, creature, planeswalker, and opponent controls loses all abilities until your next turn. If it's a creature, it also has base power and toughness 2/2 until your next turn. So this does have vigilance as well. So this will draw a card off of the Indomitable. Okay, that sets up our land play for next turn. Let's see if there's anything I can do. Okay, I think we just go next turn. Okay, Enduring Curiosity is perfect here. Although again, we are pretty short on rogues. So what is the best way? If we go High Tide, that's only going to produce 2 mana. Actually, no, we need to play a land here. Okay, so High Tide will produce us a net 2 mana, and we're not really hurting for mana necessarily. So what we could do maybe is actually crew the Indomitable in this particular instance. Because if we crew the Indomitable with the Metallic Mimic, we could get in for 2 creatures dealing combat damage. And then if we played the Enduring Curiosity for 3, we could draw 4 cards. So I kind of like that play. Let's assume we only have maybe 1 turn with the Indomitable in this higher interaction playtest. So let's go 1, 2, 3 mana for an Enduring Curiosity. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 mana to use with blue spells casting 1 less. That is just so awkward and such a shame. Is there anything else that we can do? I think we're pretty limited on options here, and I think we're just going to carry out our original game plan. So Metallic Mimic is going to crew the Indomitable, which will become a creature, and then that will become actually a 7/6. So let's give this a quick +1/+0. Now we're all set to go. So the Indomitable will get in, Azir Beastbinder will get in, and again, remove abilities from another creature, and then I think we will get in for 2 combat damage triggers, which will trigger the Indomitable and Enduring Curiosity to draw 4 cards. Okay, so we've got 4 mana to use in our second main here, so let's go. I think we really want to, let's see, if we do Dousing Dagger and a Thieving Skydiver, we could curve out completely, but we could also play a Herald's Horn plus a Thieving Skydiver. I actually kind of like the Herald's Horn. I don't know. Herald's Horn is probably not going to draw us many cards, and we don't really need the ramp, given that we already have Sapphire Medallion on the battlefield. So let's go Dousing Dagger for 2, and then we'll go, well, actually, on the other hand, let's assume that because this is a higher interaction type of game at a higher power table, we might want to steal something with 2 CMC or less with Thieving Skydiver. So let's place Thieving Skydiver, kicking it for 2. So that's going to be 4 total mana. And then we go next turn. We play out this island here. So if we go High Tide, so currently we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. If we then High Tide, we have a total of, so that would be 7 plus 3 is 10 mana. So 10 mana would get us to Dragon Throne of Tarkir castability. So if we go High Tide, although hold on, Dragon Throne of Tarkir, we would have to crew, I believe, the Metallic Mimic into the Indomitable, so we could swing out at 1 opponent with some sort of an Alpha Strike. So here's what I'd probably do. I'd probably go, actually, we would save our High Tide. I think we would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We'd probably play out Graz, expecting Graz to be removed. Okay, so Graz is sort of the bait out threat. So Graz is removed after we swing. Let's just assume that we're not able to deal combat damage for whatever reason, or maybe we actually, so we play the Graz, we swing, and let's assume that we get in for, I don't know, maybe we swung with the Metallic Mimic, the Azir Beastbinder, and then the Thieving Skydiver, and probably the Enduring Curiosity, and then they go, oops, surprise, Swords to Plowshares, Graz is gone into, I don't know, Exile, sure. So we still get in for, maybe Metallic Mimic gets blocked because it's on the ground, Enduring Curiosity gets blocked. Maybe Metallic Mimic goes away. Also, Thieving Skydiver, I think, got a +1/+1 counter off of that Metallic Mimic. So maybe we get in for two combat damage triggers. Okay, so draw 2. Next turn, then we go turn 7. We can go, you know, Odawara. Maybe we save that for removal if we need it to. But basically, we go 1 mana for High Tide. Our islands are, I'm sorry, let's go Odawara, tap that. The High Tide, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Dragon Throne of Tarkir, 9. So then now, one of our, is there anything that will buff our things up here? So it'll go 9 mana, and then we could basically just crew the Indomitable with this 2/1 right here. Or I'm sorry, it would be a 3/1 with the +1/+1 counter, so it'd be a 3/2. And then we go Dragon Throne of Tarkir, tap the Indomitable to give our creatures +7/+7, I believe. So we'll be able to swing with the Azure Beastbinder, and then we'd swing in with Enduring Curiosity, maybe draw a couple of cards, go next turn, and by now, let's say, you know, even if our board was wiped, you know, so let's put all these fellas in the graveyard. Board wipe happens, oh no, our Indomitable goes back to the command zone, maybe our Dragon Throne of Tarkir is even removed, maybe it was like a farewell, let's just throw all of this garbage, well, Enduring Curiosity will come back as an enchantment, so technically that stays around, but now we don't have a land drop, but we would still be able to go, you know, Looter Ilkor for 2, and then we'd be able to go Fairy Duelist for another 2, and then we could also play out our, well, if the board was wiped, we probably don't play the Volatile Stormdrake, but we could go, you know, Dousing Dagger for 2, and then maybe we go Herald's Horn. Actually, no, I think we'd be 1 mana short for that. So maybe like a Sigil of Sleep or something, and then we would go next turn, and then essentially by turn 9, we'd still have our backup win con out with a Banner of Kinship. So, and then, you know, let's say that we weren't even able to swing out in combat for whatever reason, or maybe our Banner of Kinship gets removed. Well, we still have delay options here, so Summon Valifor would get rid of each opponent's greatest mana value creature. Our Herald's Horn would continue to draw us cards. If we can't be dealing combat damage, we could recast the Indomitable with all of our lands as well, and then, you know, we can continue to play out low-cost rogues to continue to draw us cards. So that's sort of the beauty of this deck, is that even if we're board wiped, we still have cards in hand that will enable our commander to draw cards. So we always have cards, or I should say the ability to draw more cards, because we always have access to the Indomitable in the command zone, and we're always going to be playing, we're always able to cast these low-cost rogues, and we have a plethora of interaction to keep our opponents at bay until we're able to assemble a lethal board state with some sort of a payoff like a Banner of Kinship there. So that is my Goldfishing video for the Indomitable. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like on the video, subscribe if you want to see more, and hopefully we'll see you all in the next one.